Hi everybody, welcome to the Sun Racing preview of the Phoenix Stakes on Sunday, the big Group 1 contest for 2-year-old colts and fillies. Always a cracking race, and this year is no different as we see Steel Bull heading the market after that wonderful victory at Glorious Goodwood. Learjet in there for Michael Bell, Ventura Tormenta, Lucky Vega, Laws of Indices, that wonderful winner for Barrior last time out at 66-1. That was a brilliant pick. And there's a few others for Aidan O'Brien as well. Giorgio Vasari, Admiral Nelson. I am delighted to be joined by Betfair Supremo Barrior and also by Ronan Groom of the Irish Field. Barry, we'll start with you. Could you give us some prices for the big race and your fancy, if there is one?
Yeah, the prices aren't too dissimilar to what they were anti-post market because all the market principles have stood their ground. So it's 9-4 Steel Bull, the Malcolm winner, 7-2 the Learjet, 5-1 Ventura Tormenta, 7 Lucky Vega, 82 Law of Indices, and Admiral Nelson, and 12-1 Bordeaux. But obviously at the head of the market, Steel Bull. He's backing up again quite quickly, isn't he? He's been on the go now for the last couple of weeks. He won the Malcolm impressively, it has to be said, over 5 furlongs, stepping up to 6 furlongs here. The Learjet and Ventura Tormenta, their form ties in very closely off the back of that, Pat Pan. Declan McDonough, interestingly, riding Ventura Tormenta. He won it in 2011 with La Colina. Lucky Vega in there, who was second to Law of Indices. And I'm going to stick with Law of Indices in this time, unsurprisingly. I think he did nothing wrong. He's answered every call in Navan. He's backed it up in the Railway Stakes, and he's an improving horse, stable and flying form. This is a big step up in class, it has to be said. But at around the 8-1 mark, I think he's a knockout each way bet, and he'll continue to improve. There's the market principle, Steel Bull, Lee Roach at the plate there, obviously Colin King still in hibernation after his foray into Goodwood, where he rode him to win. And interestingly, obviously, Seskin won this race last year, and unfortunately didn't back that up in Goodwood for Colin King. But Lee Roach comes in for the ride there, so he's going to go off favourite. I'm going to stick with Law of Indices.
Lovely stuff. I actually watched that race again, the Railway Stakes, this morning. I was just so impressed with the way Laws of Indices hit the line that day, and I thought Lucky Vega was going to come and nab him, but he was really strong at the finish, wasn't he? And of the two, I would definitely side with him again.
Yeah, for my money, I was talking to, I had a chat with Gary O'Brien on our podcast yesterday, and he was very much in the Lucky Vega camp, so I have a little match bet with him that Law of Indices will finish in front of Lucky Vega, and I think he will. Wherever they finish, I think he'll finish in front of Lucky Vega.
Great stuff. And Ronan, you a fan of Laws of Indices, or do you like something else in the race?
I'm a fan of them, yeah. I like the kind of trend in the race that we have two of the kind of smaller yards with good horses, because this is usually Aidan O'Brien benefit, the Phoenix Stakes. I think he's won it something ridiculous. He's up in the high teens anyway.
16 times, yeah.
16, yeah. I mean, so that's insane, really. But he probably doesn't have as strong as hand as he usually does. The one I do think is interesting is the filly down the bottom there for Fozzie Stack. That's Loha Star. She won the early stud, and much like Laws of Indices, was a big price to win it. Now, the form hasn't worked out ridiculously well with Frenetic getting beat there last Monday at Naas. But she's still a course and distance winner, and I thought she won snug enough that day as well, even though it was a short margin in the end. Fillies are actually quite interested in this race. There's not many of them have taken their chance, but those who have ran quite well. If you remember, La Colina won this for Kevin Prendergast at 33-1. Fillies like Actress and So Perfect, who was only just beaten by Advertise, have won. They get a £3 allowance. And I just thought that was interesting with that regard, and the fact that Loha Star has the course and distance form over the likes of Steel Bull, and she's proven there in the course and distance, and with the £3 allowance. I just thought that was interesting. She's up for sale, I see, on the Tartstall's online sale next month, so she'll make a pretty penny.
She was bought, wasn't she?
She was bought.
Yeah, the guy who owned Iridessa bought her. I'm almost sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, Gonzalez.
He bought. They bought Steel Bull.
Yeah, is that who we're talking about? No.
No, I was Loha Star.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said Steel Bull there.
Yeah, they made one.
Okay.
Yeah, you are right. That Steel Bull was bought. I think they got $500,000 for that. So it seems easy, doesn't it, lads? You buy these horses for the odd 20 grand. Maybe get a few lads together, buy one, and sell it off for $500,000 once they win their listed race. But Loha Star will probably make a pretty penny as well, and so will Laws of Indices if they decide to sell that down the line as well. But it's a really interesting race, Tom. But Loha Star will get my vote.
Yeah, I mean, she gets that £3 allowance, as you say, which would have put her very much up there on ratings. We'll have a little chat about Steel Bull. I know we mentioned him very briefly there, but obviously he's stepping up to 6 furlongs for the first time. Barry, do you think that's going to suit him? I mean, were you impressed with the way he hit the line at Goodwood?
I backed him in Goodwood, and I was impressed with him in Goodwood over the 5 furlongs. But this will be his third race in quite quick succession, and stepping up 5 furlongs into a Grade 1. I think for Michael O'Callaghan, job done. Like Ronan says, they bought him as a breeze up for 20 odd grand. They got the win in him in Nace. He backed it up then in Goodwood in the Malcolm, which is always a good race, and they've got him sold. So, and he stays in the yard, so everyone's happy there. I'm sure, obviously, it's a natural step for him to go here into the Grade 1 at this stage of the season. And, he's a worthy favourite, it has to be said, but you've got, like, the Learjet and Ventura Tormenta are no back numbers either. They both have big chances, wouldn't they? Obviously, the Learjet, the Norfolk winner, short head behind Ventura Tormenta in France that time. Ventura Tormenta just didn't get the 7 furlongs in the superlative where Master of the Sea absolutely slooshed in, dropped them back to the 6 furlongs in the Papan, and he appreciated that. But yeah, I think Steel Bull is a worthy favourite, it has to be said. But I would have that caveat that backing him up so quickly could take his toll.
Yeah, it's a really good point. That I mean, Ronan, what do you think about that? I mean, do you think the 6 furlong trip is going to be up his street, and do you think those 3 runs in quick succession are going to be a bit of a foil for him?
Yeah, more the second thing you said there, Tom, would concern me, just backing up so quick. Incidentally, Michael Callahan's the big interview in the Irish Field this week. I'll give that a quick plug, and he talks all about Steel Bull. Very interesting piece. One more point I will make on the race, Tom. It's very interesting. Ben Cohen's been booked to ride the Learjet for Michael Bell. The standard of apprentices in Ireland at the moment is outrageous. The likes of Nathan Cross and Gavin Ryan has just wrote out his claim as well. And Michael Bell, I guess, could have booked any of the professionals he wanted in the Irish Way Room, but has gone for an apprentice, which is a huge vote in confidence of Ben Cohen for the Learjet. So that's just another interesting aspect to the race. So
I think he's obviously Sheikh Fahad is quite close with Johnny Murtagh. So I'm sure Johnny Murtagh had quite a say in the booking of Ben Cohen. Like you say, he can't claim his £3 here being a Grade 1, but I'm sure Johnny was instrumental in that booking. I wonder, will he get an agent's fee if the Learjet manages to land the prize?
Absolutely. Danny Sheehy and Jerry Sheridan, 2 others have really impressed me as well this season so far. I'm gonna go with you, Barry. Actually, I think Laws of Indices, after that victory last time, the fact that I watched it this morning, I thought, yeah, he really stuck on so gamely. And I think he's got a bit more up his sleeve, actually. He's had a nice little break from the Railway Stakes, and he'd be my pick as well. And I'm really keen to see how Giorgio Vasari gets on, because I have to say, earlier in the season, I didn't think he was up to much, but he seems to have really been lit up by the blinkers. And I was quite impressed with his win. It was only last week, but he did it very well. I know it was in a much weaker race, and he's got a bit to find on ratings. But, as you say, Aidan O'Brien has won this race so many times, and he looks to be the, well, we don't know jockey bookings yet, but for me, he would be the number 1 selection from that yard. Onto the 340, the Rathsky Stud Phoenix Sprint Stakes, which is a Group 3 for 6 furlong horses. Speaking colours, obviously the main talking point, having won his last 2 starts really impressively. There's some very interesting horses down the bottom, including Milisle, who is a most impressive winner in Ace recently. Sonalia, who, if I say that pronounced that correctly, is taking a nice step up from handicap company. And then there's Glenn Shield, who's been plying his trade at Newcastle recently, but it's worth this step up in grade, I think. And a few others, including Forever in Dreams, Jungle Jane, Buffer Zone, Gulliver, Back to Brussels, and Schroeder's Mistake. Ronan, I'll come to you this time first. What is your main play in this race, if there is one?
The one I'm most interested in is Milisle, because of that run at Nace last time out, where she just looked like she was back on track. I think with Milisle, you kind of seeing the difference of campaigning a horse as a sprinter and going for that, and campaigning them initially as a Guineas horse and training that way. And it does say it is a difficult thing to do, to go, say, start a filly off for 1,000 guineas, and then, okay, now we have to go back to sprinting. And I think that might just be the case with this Star Spangled Banner filly. I thought she did it really well in Ace. She clocked a good time there, and all the kind of word from the Harrington camp was, we're back on track now. I loved her run last year in the Shively Park, where she came kind of on the rail there and hit the line really hard. And to me, she always did look a sprinter. It's easy saying that now, obviously, after she's gone and ran disappointing in the Guineas over a mile. But back at this trip, I think she could be a real force now. She gets the allowance. 3-year-olds have quite a good record in this race. And usually you tend to sometimes look at, when you see an Irish sprint, you look at the British horses, but they don't have a hugely good record in this race down the years. And a 3-year-old filly getting the allowance that she does with a rating of 114 for an informed yard, she made a lot of appeal to me. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Paddy Toomey as well, and whatever he sends out, his runners to winners record is impeccable, really. A course and distance winner here as well last time out. So I would fear Sinila as well, but for me, Milile is definitely the most interesting in the race.
Lovely stuff, Rowan. I completely agree with you. Actually, I think Milile is definitely the one to beat. I was really impressed with that win last time out, and she really seems to have clicked in the last couple of runs. And I think it will take a very good horse to beat her getting that allowance as well. Barry, what's your take on the race?
Yeah, I suppose, listen, lads, on ratings, like she's rated 114. Speaking Colours is rated 110. Has to give her, what, £9, like £9 well in she is with Speaking Colours. But he's a phenomenal horse at the Curragh. He's ran 6 times there. He's won 4 times and he's been twice second. And this is his class, this Group 3. This is his level, and he dominates at this, and especially at the Curragh. I think he has to be there or thereabouts. I think the other horse that has to come into calculations is Gulliver for David O'Mara. Ronan Whelan takes him out there. Disappointed in the Stewards Cup, but I'd forgive him that. If you go back to his previous run in the Curragh and the Scurry, he was beaten a short head by Romantic Proposal. After trading 100-1 on the Betfair Exchange, looked all over when he went about 3 lengths clear, but Romantic Proposal just warmed down. The winner has to come from those 3. There's 10 runners, but the other 7 don't count in my book. It's Milile, Gulliver, and Speaking Colours, and I'm just going to go for Speaking Colours with Shane Cross in the plate. Off the back of that record, I know he's up against it in terms of rating with Milile, but you know, he's a phenomenal record at the Curragh, and this is his class, like I said, and I think he'll take a bit of whacking here.
Great stuff. You're giving us the tricast there as well. Fantastic.
It's that easy, Tom.
It's that easy, yeah, exactly. Thanks very much, guys. Awesome. Got some really good stuff there. And yeah, hopefully for a winner or 2 as well. There's some cracking racing actually on Sunday at the Curragh. They've really stepped up to the mark on a weekend that doesn't have much top-class racing. Ireland have come to the fore once again. So thank you, guys. Really appreciated that. And yeah, see you all very soon.
Love it.